பாரத பிரதமர் மாண்புமிகு நரேந்திர மோடியை வருக வருக என வரவேற்கிறோம். KR வெங்கடேஷ், KRV எஜுகேஷன் அண்ட் ட்ரஸ்ட், திருவள்ளூர் மாவட்ட பாஜக. ஹாரிஸ் ஜெயராஜ் இசையில் JD ஜெரி இயக்கத்தில் தி லெஜெண்ட் சரவணன் நடிக்கும் தி லெஜெண்ட் திரைப்படம் ஜூலை 28 முதல் உங்கள் அபிமான திரையரங்குகளில் காண தவறாதீர்கள்.
Hi, hello and welcome to Chanakyaa. This is your voice, the only voice. Our guest today is a very special young lady, a scientific researcher, the first person of Indian origin to get the most prestigious Fulbright award for research in French Polynesia. I take immense pleasure in welcoming Ms. Aarthi Kannan. Welcome, Aarthi.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Mala.
So, how is it? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I just got back from Ecuador yesterday, so I'm a little tired. So, but I'll try to be fresh for this interview.
Thank you so much for taking time and talking to Chanakyaa. எங்களுக்கு Chanakyaa viewers-காக உங்களோட schooling, how did you, a few words about yourself, and எப்படி நீங்க schooling எங்க பண்ணீங்க, how was the transition and things like that.
Kandipa. So I am from Chennai, and I always, in my travels to other countries and in my time living in the US, I always proudly call myself the girl from Chennai, and that India is always my home. So I studied in Lalaji Memorial Omega International School, which is in Kolapakam in Chennai. So nanga vandu 9th standard to 12th standard I studied there, and after 12th standard I took the SAT exam, and I applied to US colleges and universities. So எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு 5-6 universitiesல admission, I received admission offers, and so I decided to choose this private liberal arts college called Austin College in Texas, near Dallas. And people might know Dallas, since Dallas is like mini India in the US. There's a lot of Indians everywhere in Dallas. So yeah, so I studied not biology, but I studied biology there. I majored in biology, and I did 3 years of genetics research under a very great advisor and scientist called Dr. David Aiello. And after doing genetics research, naturally, the class, a lot of people went into biomedical research and biomedical PhD. So I also applied and got into biomedical PhD programs, which pay a lot of money per year, and give you a semi-stable life as a student. So, and my parents are very happy that I was going to be independent from the age of 22 or 23 when I received the PhD offer. But I was very restless, and I didn't feel very good with myself, because I felt like there was more out there for me to do, and there was more that I did not discover yet during my days in college. And I decided to follow my childhood dream. However, I really wanted to follow my childhood passion of wildlife conservation. So I decided this was the only chance I could take, or this was the only time I had to try it out. So I volunteered for the Nature Conservation Foundation in India. It's called NCF. And they do really great conservation work in India. And so I volunteered with them, and I worked on a project to camera trap, or basically capture images of leopards in order to aid in their conservation in South India. And the office was based in Bangalore. So while volunteering for that NGO, I realized that wildlife conservation is my calling, and I cannot turn away from it anymore. Even though there were so many perks to accepting the PhD offer that I had in hand, I decided to deny that offer and go into wildlife conservation, which was a completely new world for me. And it was scary, but I would like to say it's really rewarding in the end to follow your passion. So
Impressive. I mean, first thing, how was the transition from Chennai to the United States? Like, you sound to be a very natural or a pro here, but how was the transition? Did you have any challenges? Like, I'm sure language shouldn't be a challenge anymore for any of us, but culturally, edavadhu ungalku challenges?
I would like to say it was pretty smooth, and that is thanks to my parents, because they've always taken me to many countries and had me travel a lot. We had a lot of summer vacations and we tried our best to go to different countries in order to. They wanted me and my sister to be exposed to different cultures, different people, and so they did their best. They worked really, really hard to support traveling to many places and opening up our minds to different areas and different places and cultures. So thanks to them, I it was not too bad of a culture shock, as many of my classmates do have. In summary, it wasn't too bad of a transition thanks to my parents because of all the traveling to the US, and I lived there up till the age of 4.
That's great to know. But first thing first, எனக்கு இது கேட்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. So I know I read a few things about Fulbright scholarship. So what is this Fulbright scholarship? I know it's a cultural exchange program between the United States students and people from other countries, and it's not only a cultural exchange, but it's also a program for encouraging education and other fields. So can you just spill a few words on that?
Yeah, definitely. So the Fulbright program, so it's difficult to talk about in a short interview because the application itself takes some research to do and like figure out which award or program you want to apply for. But definitely, I'll try to touch on that. So most people are aware of the Fulbright teaching exchange program. So people go as teachers of
Language
different
exchange,
languages,
right?
language
Yeah.
exchange, exactly. So people go as, for example, someone from the US will go to teach English to students in Japan. And the person who's going should also know a little bit of Japanese. So that's the most common sort of Fulbright program that most people are aware of. But there's also the US Fulbright program also sponsors students who want to do 1 year of research or 2 years of research, or a part of their PhD in a different country, or on research that they find important to helping the human and humans and the environment. So the US Fulbright program has many different programs under its umbrella.
5 different streams, right? If I remember correctly. 5
Yeah,
different
there's many
streams.
different streams. Yeah.
But okay. So I'm sure I don't want you to go through everything. I'm not
No, it's
definitely
okay.
going to ask. No.
Yeah. So
I was actually you answered that actually. எனக்கு ஒரு question இருந்தது first. How come biology to environment and but you told me about that program in India that you attended. So I just have one more question to you. Why French Polynesia? An island between French Polynesia. நான் வந்து சொன்ன உடனே உங்கள்ட்ட பேச போறேன் அப்படின்னு சொன்ன உடனே I went to Google. I said where is French Polynesia? ஃபிஜிக்கும் சவுத் அமெரிக்காவுக்கும் நடுவுல ஒரு சின்ன ஐலண்ட் இல்லையா?
It's a very small island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's a very beautiful paradise. That's what people call it. So French Polynesia is a small island nation, and there are many such small island nations and island groups. So I was really interested in French Polynesia from my knowledge of the critical situation islands are facing.
What is your study specifically about?
Yeah, so in 2020, there was a paper released in Nature on reef sharks. So reef sharks are globally extremely endangered, and actually, especially in India. India is one of the top 3 exporters of shark meat. And so a lot of people aren't aware of that in India, and which is why it's really important to raise awareness for the environmental issues and wildlife that is found in India that is unique, and it's really important to raise awareness for that. So after reading this paper and after understanding the situation that reef sharks are facing globally, I got really interested in doing something about it and conducting more research. So I worked with a really great scientist who has studied predators such as sharks and marine predators such as sharks and terrestrial predators such as wolves for the last 20 to 30 years. His name is Dr. Aaron Wurzing, and he works as a professor in the University of Washington, the School of Forestry and Environmental Sciences. So I worked with him, and I expressed my interest in working on reef shark science and developing conservation plans for them. And French Polynesia was highlighted in the Nature paper that I mentioned as one of the top 3 world's best shark sanctuaries. So they have an incredible population of reef sharks in comparison to other countries, such as countries in Asia, including India. So they have a higher reef shark population. So it serves as a very ideal location to study these sharks in their natural environment. I worked with Dr. Werzing on a proposal for the Fulbright application, and I'm very honored and privileged to receive that award because I think this will have large implications on future reef shark and marine research in French Polynesia.
So how is it? உங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப அட்வென்ச்சரஸா இருக்கு நீங்க சொல்றதெல்லாம் கேட்கும்போது. ரீஃப் ஷார்க்ஸ், இந்தியன் wolves, oh man, so much of wild. So பயம் கிடையாதா?
No, I'm not scared.
Do you swim with the sharks? Like, you know, you see in all those deep blue sea movies and kind of things. Is that what you guys do? Kind of.
Actually, yeah. So what's interesting? That's an interesting question. What is interesting is I'm actually studying the impacts of swimming with sharks.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So not that there are any, not that we know that there are any negative impacts as of now, but shark diving tourism is a $1 million industry across the world in many different countries, Indonesia, in Philippines, and in South Africa. There's all these exotic shark diving tourism programs. And it's always important to maintain some distance with wildlife. So I'm actually studying the impacts of shark diving tourism on the sharks. And just to understand what all of these activities are, how they're affecting shark biology and shark behavior. That's my main focus. In addition to, there's an interesting concept in ecology. It's called trophic cascades. So in any system, any ecosystem that you look at, there's usually an apex predator. And when I was growing up, I did not realize the profound influence that apex predators can have. For instance, a recent study, which a lot of some of you might be aware of, in Yellowstone National Park, one of the largest national parks in the world, wolves are introduced, and after a long time, after a long period of hunting and extirpation, gray wolves are introduced back into the park. And it is amazing to learn that there was a dramatic change in the landscape after the wolf introduction over time. For example, the beaver population increased. And when I tell this to people who aren't in ecology, they're like, that doesn't make any sense. When you introduce wolves, why would the beaver population
why would the beavers?
increase?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's amazing.
They're rodents, right?
They're a kind of
rodents, yeah.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because basically when wolves are reintroduced, the coyote population, coyotes are mesopredators. They are lower than wolves on the food chain. If just to put it in simple words, they're lower than wolves. So the coyote population is automatically controlled, and the coyotes usually feed on the beavers. So because the coyote
food chain, okay.
Yeah. So because the coyote population is controlled, the beaver population is increased. And in addition, wolves eat the elk deer. So when they feed on the elk deer and keep the elk population in control, the native plants return back into the riverbanks. So wolves affect the plants, the beavers, like there's this profound influence that they have. This is not just unique to wolves. This is with all predators in any ecosystem. So and this is an ecological concept. So I am really interested in how predators are influencing ecosystems, influencing humans, and influencing the lower trophic members. So for example, in French Polynesia, we will be looking at video camera data of how fishes are reacting to the sharks, how fish behavior is influenced as a result of shark movement or shark behavior. Not immediately. Yeah.
எப்படி உங்களுக்கு இதெல்லாம் தோணுது? நாங்கலாம் படிக்கும்போது ஸ்கூல் போனியா, காலேஜ் போனியா, படிச்சு முடிச்ச உடனே ஓகே கோ ஃபார் a job. என்ன எப்படி how did you, I mean it's everybody will have this dream, right? I should do something for the society. அத வந்து cross பண்ணாத ஒரு யங்ஸ்டரே கிடையாதுன்னு சொல்லலாம். But to chase it is really difficult. I'm just amazed. And இவ்ளோ ஒரு knowledge and இவ்ளோ விஷயம் சொல்றீங்க. How do you balance your personal and your career life, like friends, fun? உங்க கரியரே ஃபன்னா தான் இருக்கு, நான் இல்லன்னு சொல்லல, பட்
so நான் இப்போ வந்து I'm 25 years old, so I that's
girls wise எல்லாம் சொல்ல மாட்டா சொல்லுவாங்க. You were so freely telling.
I mean I have really good friends, so we hang out together and we travel to places. For example, I just went with my friends on a trip sponsored by Yale University. sponsored by Yale University as part of the tropical field ecology course taught by two great scientists, Dr. Queenborough and Dr. Komida. And so we went on a trip to the Amazon rainforest, and that I think was one of the most magical experiences I've ever had, and it was incredibly fulfilling, and I completely forgot about everything in my life. I was very, very present, and more people should go visit the forest. I really hope that people listening to this are inspired to go to the forest and visit the forest, and give it a chance. You don't know, you won't like it until you go there. So I also was very scared of spiders and lizards. I'm incredibly scared of spiders, lizards, cockroaches. They are my they are my nightmare.
No, I'm not about spiders and lizards, but yes, cockroaches.
Cockroaches. I'm in a coronavirus. So I'm very scared of insects. But the forest is just such a beautiful place, and it is kind of humans' natural habitat because we evolved from hunter-gatherer societies, and so it's in our DNA to enjoy nature.
Okay, so tell us about how was your experience in Amazon rainforest? Like, Amazon rainforest is a dream come true, right? For any researcher, ecologist, so much of things happening. So, what was? Tell us something interesting about your experience there.
Yeah, that is. I could talk for hours about my experience in the Amazon rainforest, and definitely, it was a dream that I held since I was a child, and so to be able to have the honor and privilege of visiting the Amazon rainforest, thanks to Dr. Queenborough and Dr. Komida, who are two really great scientists here, professors at the Yale School of Environment, who made this trip happen for me and my classmates in the class that we took. So it was a magical experience, and I'd like to say it's not what people think. There aren't any anacondas in every corner. There aren't jaguars.
I was about to. You read my mind.
There aren't jaguars waiting to eat you. It's not crawling with spiders or anything like that. It is. I would like to say it's actually very similar. It's in some ways it's similar to the Western Ghats in India, to the rainforest in India. However, I went to Yasuni National Park, which is part of the Amazon rainforest, and it is the one of the most biodiverse places on Earth. So it was an incredible honor to be there and experience the forest and see the wildlife. And I just all I could say it was magical. We were in a canoe, and we noticed that there was some movement in the river, and we were canoeing in the Tiputini River, which is a very famous river. And the river water is actually muddy, so you can't see
Is it something that I saw in the Jungle Cruise movie?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Very similar to that. So it's a muddy river, so you can't see what's in it most of the. So for me, I'm not scared, but I'm actually frustrated because I would like to see what's in the river. Like, I want to know what wildlife is there, and I want to be able to see it. But anyway, so I was just very curious about what's in the rivers. It was so mysterious. It was muddy. But anyway, so one magical moment that I can never forget, and I just wish I could be in that moment and live in it forever, is we were in the canoe. We basically just got off on the sandy coast along the river, which is like a little beach in the river. We just pulled our canoe onto the sandy coast and just stood there for a while. And within just 15 minutes, and in one view, I could see a two-toed sloth climbing down from a tree. I could see a yellow-headed vulture flying in the sky. We could hear this very rare bird called a tinamou that has a very unique and very loud call in the forest. We could hear it. And I could also see wild pink river dolphins jumping in the river. And there were also jaguar pug marks, so the footprints of a jaguar near me. And in addition to all that, as if that wasn't enough life that I could see in just a few minutes, and in one view in that moment, there were also TT monkeys and squirrel monkeys swinging in the trees.
So much just around that sandbar.
It was so magical, and I only wish that more people would experience that magic, because it was just so fulfilling, and I couldn't help but have so much wonder for everything that Earth has, and all this life that is held within these forests that are really, really important. I in addition to working on wildlife conservation projects in India and in the US, I really wish to go back to the Amazon rainforest and do some projects there as well. So yeah, it was great question, and yeah, more people. definitely people should visit South America, go to the Amazon rainforest, and experience this teeming wildlife and life that's in the forest. Yeah.
Perfect. So like about your grandfather, a very great man, and yeah, I should have mentioned this earlier. So you are the second person from your family getting this, Ilya. Your grandfather, late Mr. Shri P.K. Srinivasan. I would like to hear a few words about the great mathematician who knew Ramanujan and who has contributed so much to the Indian education system, who's groomed so much of teachers and other things. உங்களோட experience with உங்க தாத்தா.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. It's I'm really glad you asked me that. He is the first biographer of the legendary scientist Ramanujan, and I knew my tata up till third standard when he passed away. Up till I was in third standard when he passed away, and even though it's been many years ago, we talk about him every single day in our family because he contributed so much to India and to education in India. And he was affectionately called Kanukku Tata because he always taught and lived for math education, and he taught many underprivileged students in India, in Nigeria. He taught them math, encouraging children and helping them. And he continues to serve as a great inspiration to me. I wish to be able to inspire future scientists in India and other countries to care about the environment and care about wildlife conservation, because ultimately it's caring about yourself. I really wish to take that from my grandfather. His countless hours of dedicated to his whole life dedicated to teaching the future generation. So I wish to follow in his footsteps and do the same in my field.
Wonderful. It was great talking to you, Aarthi. And Chanakya Sarbahum from my side, from Chanakya, and with from all the viewers who are watching this, I wish you very best for all your research and your and your passion. Like you're someone who's chasing your passion, and you're chasing a passion that's a very noble one. So yes, best wishes to you. Very nice talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your views.
Thank you so much, Manu. It was such a pleasure talking to you, and thank you to all the viewers. I would love for anyone, any students, adults, anyone to contact me to chat about wildlife conservation or inform them about opportunities. I'll give you my contact details. Yeah, thank you so much. This was an honor.
Sure. Thank you so much, Aarthi.